Hey, morning. Good afternoon.
Hello, Han.
Hey, good afternoon. Hey,
Hey,
John.
hey. Hey, John.
Hi, hon.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I will share a screen with agenda. Do you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So I put your points into the OpenRMC agenda, Han. I have like 2 points for device manager, and that's it, I guess. Maybe you can give us some updates from Global Summit at the end.
Sure. Yeah.
Would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to start, or should I go with device manager first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will go with device manager. So about the first one, status of OpenRMC 1.0. I ran the Redfish validator with OpenRMC profile for 1.0, and I find out some issues to be fixed. I have a whole list of issues, maybe not whole list, but some issues to start with, and I believe we will be working on them till the end of the year. So basically, yes, John?
Yeah, can you go ahead and just show that list?
Yeah, sure, I can show it. Yeah, it's here. So the second column with to do is what we are interested in, and there are 4 points on it. One is to add a chassis discovery to the system. So right now we don't have a discovery for chassis somehow. Somehow we missed that. The second one is to update the manager for device manager, the Redfish manager for device manager. It's missing some points and some properties, sorry, and those properties are listed here. This is what the validator returned from scanning the manager. The third one is to there are some missing properties and links in the computer system, and those links are listed here. And fourth, the biggest one, in my opinion, is the telemetry service. And this is not something we can read from the services. I mean, we can read some part of telemetry from the services below, but we'll have to write an implementation in device manager to support the basic telemetry service. So this is the biggest item on the list. The first 3 are not that big, pretty minor, if you ask me. But this one with telemetry service might take some time because I have to get familiar with telemetry service and stuff inside and what's required for it. So this is what we are missing, and this is what the Redfish validator returned from the scan. So all those items has to be fixed before releasing device manager and give it as OpenRMC 1.0 stamp. So 4 points. Once all those points are fixed or implemented, I will run the validator again and see if there are some additional items for it. If no, then on the next meeting, I will let you know that all items has been fixed and there are no more issues returned. So this is the status about OpenRMC 1.0.
So, so the guidance I gave for telemetry service is that only the static portion of telemetry service needs to be implemented. If you look at the profile, it merely states that the telemetry service needs to be to exist and be, but it has there's no subclause about which part of telemetry service needs to be
It's here,
supported. Yeah, right there. So,
right?
yeah, if you look at the telemetry service, telemetry white paper, telemetry service has three groups of capabilities. One is as a metric definition collection, which defines the details about a particular metric within the model. That's what I'm going to go have him implement because that is static. It doesn't, it's just it's a placeholder, and by necessary placeholder. The other two portions of telemetry service is metric reports, which is you can tell the Redfish service that you like it to generate a report of these metrics every periodically or on command. And that you do that through a creation of a metric report definition file. That won't be implemented. And the last part is triggers, which is a new telemetry service, which is you can set triggers for the telemetry service to monitor a particular metric for excursions above it, but below thresholds. That is not won't be implemented in device manager because it will take a lot of work and it's a dynamic process. So that's all. And just implementing metric definitions is sufficient to pass the OpenRMC 1.0. That's the first reason. The second reason is that telemetry service is actually more fully implemented in ODIM. So ODIM is another is a repository of a Golang implementation of Redfish for telemetry infrastructure. We have borrowed heavily from ODIM to get the rest of the interface, Redfish interface. We could go back and grab that telemetry service. However, I discovered how complicated it is for Intel to actually do that because we have to go through an entire process in order to do that. We as a corporation cannot just pick it up and drop it in and build it and say, hey, it's good. We have to go through a full analysis of the code, which is one of the reasons it's taken a while to get this stuff across from ODM. But that's been accomplished. And as we do these final strokes, we do not want to burden it with yet another process of having to evaluate telemetry service code. It'd be much easier if someone else went, picked it up and dropped it. And so that's why there's no reason for us to go and implement and we all of it, and because there's another implementation of all of it someplace else, which is up and running.
Right. That's why we'll write on a basic implementation for telemetry service, and this is how we'll fix this issue.
Yeah. So if anyone ever finds a bug saying, "Hey, we like the rest of the telemetry service," we'll point them to ODIM and say, "Hey, we know how to do it. Grab this code and put it over here," and then we'll step away.
Basically that. I mean, you just know, write the missing items, right? This is
Right.
the
As a matter of fact, I'll do that. As soon as you get the telemetry service out, I will file an issue. That we don't have to have the pieces, and then we can answer the issue by saying, "Go, it's available over here."
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. So that's it about the status. And the second point I have is the future plans for device manager, and where are we now, and where do we go? So we are aiming to develop and release the device manager with OpenRMC 1.0, and we have some things implemented already from OpenRMC 1.1, but we won't be implementing the rest of it unless there is, because we don't want to be only one side to put code inside this repository, right? So if there is a need in community for example OpenRMC 1.1 or anything else, I guess the best way is to file an issue, and then we will look for people that can implement this or fix those issues, right? So do you want to add something, John, to it?
Yeah, I brought this up during the presentation in OCP. Jerry, I noticed you're on the line. Were you at the OCP summit?
No, I have a business trip that week.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. Then it's worth repeating. So as part of the presentation at the end, I basically said that it's Intel had taken the initiative, right, and the responsibility to layer a Redfish interface on top of Device Manager, which at the time did not have one. We would like in designing the future after 1.0, we would like input from the industry, right, and the community as to who's using this and what issues do they have, as opposed to us engineers being in a room and just making a decision that we should go that way and devote more resources to it. So I had asked the audience during the meeting that they should, we're actually looking for issues, right? And so if you have a problem, if you have our AFE, submit them, right? And hopefully the industry can solve it as opposed to Intel having to step in and make the change, make the improvements or make the changes. Because we haven't gotten a lot of feedback from the community on whether it's being used and how it's being used. Is it sufficient the way it is? So I guided this group to basically say, after 1.0, we've got pieces from 1.1. We've got aggregation service. We've got a firmware update already implemented. It's working. There's one piece of 1.1 which we haven't implemented, and that's this security exchange between the manager, the rack manager, and the managed node to make sure that they can assert the fact that the manager is supposed to manage that particular managed node. That's going to be a lot of implementation. So I would be fine after this release to say, we have 1.0 is out. We have 1.1, 1.0 plus, because we have a little more than that, but we ain't got 2.0. And just leave it at that, and then let the industry step up and do whatever additional development they want to do. So that's my future plans. And so I know Han, you brought up security as part of 1.1 as something that you were very interested in. I think you were probably at a different company at the time, but if you're still interested in a 1.1 device manager that implements that exchange protocol, then that we won't be implementing that protocol. Matter someone else can go implement that protocol.
Understand. Yeah,
Okay.
I think just for SPAC, so we have a security session right now from our firmware perspective, right? So I don't say like everyone have to immediately implement anything in the SPAC, but as long as there's a session talking about the security part, so that's for implementation reference, right? So some people might be very interested. Some people say, hey, we already have a very high security level, so this is not our priority. So that's fine. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the overall is I want device manager 1.0 out. I want to tie a bow on it. I want to run it in the Redfish interoperability lab that is owned by the DMTF to
Okay.
shake out any bugs that we might have, fix what we can, and then allow the community to continue ongoing support of this repository.
Sure.
Okay, good.
Right. Okay, thank you, John. So that's it what I have for today. Do you want to share, Han?
Yeah. Probably you need to stop sharing so that I can share. And see my screen? Yes. So I think the key takeaway of trend in this OCP, just from my 2 cents, is like people, I mean the community right now are really interested for the big AI system clustering. How can we do all kinds of accelerator, GPU, or the whole multiple rack hardware management from our MC perspective. So this scope is mainly not just restrict to one single physical rack. So they might tie to or a big number of nodes, typically the AI nodes in the system. So how can the RMC from that perspective provide hardware management? So I have three feedback. I think this one is the first one is from a GPU vendor. So they kind of like interested. So how can we do the GPU management?
So
Yeah, go ahead, John.
So my first question on my first comment on all these three feedbacks is to go back to them and say submit an issue.
Submit an issue.
Right? It doesn't appear an issue. We almost shouldn't be talking about it. So, but I understand this because I went to these guys, right? And because they have one on firmware update for GPUs.
Yes.
And I said, I said, we have a framework to do this for across the entire rack. They said, no. So that's when I started having a discussion with them. I'm sure they went to you and they said, how do we get this right in place?
So I think the major use case from GPU vendor side or some people using GPU is so they have tons of GPU and they want to manipulate some setting. They want to update the GPU firmware or change a bunch of setting on the fly. So typical they are doing traditional over the inbound communication by script. So when the scale goes up, then they want something different. So they just exploring some intelligent like rack management for AI system. How can they achieve that? So they have to define if we go outbound, so how can we um, justify and define the standard from hardware perspective of which route we're gonna control and make this kind of change, and from firmware software perspective, how can we do that? So I think this is their top use cases for GPU management. So maybe I can go to the second one. Second one is actually this one is so they want to manipulate a very detailed setting from thousands of nodes, the AI nodes. So they define not a physical rack, but they define a affiliate domain, or they want a predefined a very large number of nodes as a single. So kind of, I should not say it's a virtual rack, but
No,
rather say, yeah, it's a domain level.
No, it's an aggregate.
It's an aggregation for sure.
No, yeah, exactly. That's why I just tell them this is called group operations. It takes the aggregation service, it's implemented.
Yeah. I think so. Right now we are defining 1.1. We already have an aggregation, but so people might have the perception, so this might be due internal aggregation inside the rack, right? So we didn't specify if we have these thousands of nodes across multiple rack, so how can single RMC can handle that, right? So maybe we physically have multiple RMC in this scenario. So how can this
No,
aggregation, yeah, so aggregation model in this place to come to play? Yeah.
okay. So that's why this needs to be submitted as an issue, because
Okay.
this goes far beyond what RMC is able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not believe the reference spec will support this. And they're looking at it,
Okay.
but it's you're putting an aggregator on top of an aggregator,
Yeah. So
which is fine, right? But
yeah.
that's yes.
I,
So you'll discover the GPU guys are actually beginning to push this really hard, and they're gonna
yeah.
find cracks in both both in the redfish model and the
Mm-hmm.
existing implementations, because no
Mm-hmm.
one is
Mm-hmm.
looking at this.
Yeah. So
We're just far enough along, right, in
mm-hmm.
doing even aggregation service that they say, hey, these are the guys we can go push on, see if they come back something.
Yeah.
Which is why this conversation has to be out in the open. It has to be on the GitHub issue, right?
Yeah.
We
Okay.
can't have room discussions about this.
Okay. So we prefer promote as an issue instead of just, hey, we have a new use cases here. So we want land for this use case. Okay.
All new development, right, in
Mm-hmm.
OpenRMC should
Mm-hmm.
be based on an issue that's filed.
Okay. All right. That's another version of the new use cases requirement.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So yeah, so this gentleman also provides some detail list, so they want to manipulate the detail settings. Right now, we understand we can do the BIOS BMC firmware update, right? So they probably want to go a little bit deeper. But this is already the detail implementation. I said you can do it. So, but right now we one-on-one, we still aligned to update the firmware. Yeah. Okay. So I think the third one is because right now CXL they might have the CXL switch fabric, so which also correlated to they extend the management across multiple rack to our backend switch fabric. So is that saying like somehow the fabric manager can be a part of the rack manager or something. Yeah. So this,
Okay,
but
so my first question goes to Marquette. Does ODIM have fabrics?
I I
If
believe so. There is a
is that
fabric service on OD.
okay? So there should be a fabric model, not fabric service. But you know, again, right? Here's another place where we can just go grab code. Someone else can go grab code faster than we Intel can, and just drop it in ODIM. And that's why this needs to be filed as an issue, because we will tell them exactly where to go and go get the data, get the code in order to drop in the
mhm,
release, right? But as I stated, I continue to believe that Intel can do it, but they'll be the slowest people to do it because we have such a we have a process to go through. Okay,
okay, okay,
so all three of these issues are good, right?
mhm,
I think they should be filed as an issue so we can show quote activity that people are using this and looking at it and would like it to improve and help us talk to our management saying, yeah, it's actually being used, because it's not
mhm,
us deciding, right? And even in your description of this, you said you made guesses about what they want and what they don't want, right?
mhm.
Eh,
Yeah,
I don't want that. No, so I just want them to tell us exactly what they want, and then we go implement
okay,
what they
okay,
want,
makes sense.
right?
Yeah.
And that's not interpret what they want. Okay, so in light of that, I'm going to show you, on your first one on GPUs. I'm going to show you what they have. I'm going to blow you off. Oh, can you unshare? I guess I can't.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
can I
Hold on.
share it all?
I just did.
Okay, here. So if you look at, I may have shown you this before. So this is on the contribution database.
Mhm,
That this is actually, there's a GPU management a work stream within hardware management now. And these are the 3 documents they own that they basically contribute to OCP. They're not at finished levels. They're at version. The version tells you that they're not complete. There's a 0.5 and the 0.7. They said we've done enough work that we want to make it public, and then we want to create a work stream to do the final cleaning up of this document, accept industry input, and then we'll release it. We'll recontribute it as 1.0 out of this work stream. But if you look at the meaning of all these, all of them talk about redfish. So your statement about yes, they've tried the in-band stuff. They know it won't last. They want to go out of band to do all the manageability on a GPU. And so this is the I think the broadest one is the last one, right? They wanted to do for all management, right?
Okay.
And firmware updates just happen to be a particular one that they want to do specifically. And they tried to do this in OSF project. And I told them, why are you doing over there, man? We got half the framework over here. So they formally requested to be moved over to hardware. So that's why they're here. So this background, this is just background on your slides, and this on the newfound interest in OpenRMC, and the fact that they continue to tell me, walk up to me and say, I never knew this, and I keep on telling them, I tell you this all every week. I'm glad you finally came to a session. So if I can get these guys interested, right, in what we have, then maybe they'll step up, because this who is it? Is it Google, Meta, Microsoft? In the video are the ones that are pushing these 3 documents across. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Yeah. So probably we can start over there and get the lift to from the GPU perspective to or rack or virtual rack perspective.
Right.
So I think the focus is slightly different over there.
So I would contact the people you got these issues from, or feedback from, and tell them we the community would like you to contribute to add this as an issue.
Okay. All right.
And okay.
Yeah, I think the second on my agenda is like right now we have the aggregation model. So if we have to cross multiple rack, do we need some combination model? Talking about the RMC to RMC, also this will cover the failover. So yeah, so this is purely for brainstorming for future. It's not for now. Yeah, but I do see right now the focus point might be still stick to a single physical rack. Yeah.
Yeah, the current RMC and current redfish limits you to a single rack, unless you're doing this aggregation service, right?
Yeah.
Aggregation service tell you how to connect. It has all this connection service to connect to quote subordinate nodes that you're managing. We need something similar to that to connect to a fellow RMC.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is not in the redfish model. So in that case, right, someone needs to file a redfish an issue against a redfish repository to say, I need to be able to do this.
Okay. All right. So that would be probably the proper approach to do that. So everything we need to file as an issue, even for redfish, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, and that's why I don't want you filing the issue. All right, I want those guys filing the issues.
Yeah.
Because if they ain't got half an hour to sit down and write a issue to file in a GitHub, then you're just carrying the water for them. they should go carry their own water.
Okay.
Because the feedback issue, right? Because then they'll list it, right? Then when you comment on the issue saying, you know, I need this additional information, it doesn't go back to Han, right? It goes back to whoever filed this thing, so they can give us feedback, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so
Right.
I think pretty much is just a major feedback from OCP. John, did you hear anything else beside?
No, not really. I mean, I've been driving this, not during the summit.
Okay.
I mean, I would tell it was well attended. You know, for those who didn't attend the summit, it was over 4,000 attendees. It was the largest that had attended an OCP summit. They had more sponsors than they needed, so all the sponsor slots were filled. So OCP made lots of money. And they had, I think, 3 other standards body co-locate with them, CXL being one of them. That the CXL forum actually had their own dedicated track for CXL stuff. Let's see, what else do you need? Oh, next year, sorry, for regional summit, the next year it will be in Lisbon. And then following year it will be in Dublin.
You mean global or regional? Dublin.
Oh, regional. The
Regional,
global
okay.
summit, next
they're
year.
always
Unfortunately,
here.
it won't be in San Jose.
Yeah. Okay. And we will see. I think for travel to Europe might not be easy for me right now. Yeah.
But I've always told Marcek, you know, he's in Europe, which I
Yeah,
get him. No
he
one.
can go for sure.
Right. We presented for him at OC at Global Summit. He can present.
He can go to regional.
The group in Europe.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hey, you can always ask. The worst thing we can say is no, right?
Yeah, right. I will ask, definitely. I will ask. I was in Lisbon, and this is a very beautiful city, and I would love to revisit it again.
Well, that's your incentive to getting 1.0 tied up in a bow.
Yeah, that's a good incentive.
All right, I think that's all for my part. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, so
I don't have anything else for today.
So pretty much for today. So and also best wish to the Thanksgiving in advance next week. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. Enjoy, guys.
Yeah. So all right. So let's meet in December. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
Right.
Talk to you later. I'll go
Thank you.
on. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
You. Bye.